everybody. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. So, let's talk about Foodie Beauty. What's going on with her today? Well, not much. And why is that? Because it's YouTube payday. And what did I tell y'all? YouTube payday, she was going to disappear. As soon as she got the money, she was going to be offline for the day, at least for today. But while she's been away, few things have happened. So I was just on Twitter, just checking out Twitter, trying to collect things for doing the Twitter peeps for y'all. And it would seem that Chantal's apartment has been fully doxxed. Not just the address itself, but the inside of the apartment. I guess some of the information appeared on Kiwi Farms. So the Kiwi farmers have fully doxed her. And of course, the information filtered on over to Twitter, and people have been sharing it. And some information about the apartment that Chantal decided to live in. So it would seem the apartment was listed for rent. I believe it was on Facebook. And maybe that's how Chantal found the apartment in the first place. She went on Facebook. The apartment itself, $1,400 a month. It's an apartment that doesn't allow pets. It doesn't allow smoking. The landlord now knows that Chantal has a cat because people let the landlord know. And the landlord doesn't sound too happy about that. Now, let's talk about the apartments and the whole non-smoking, non-pet thing. A lot of people are saying right now that Chantal got evicted. The thing is, tenants have rights. They do have rights when you move in, and landlords have to abide by them. Could the landlord kick her out just because? No, he can't do that. Would the landlord have a problem with her having a pet? Oh, yeah. Some landlords, they just don't want tenants bringing pets into their units or apartments or homes because perhaps they might be afraid of possible pet damage in the future, which then they have to pay for. So could the landlord kick her out? Well, they got to have a good reason. But since she does have a pet, the landlord will either A, give her notice and tell her that she needs to rehome the pet or find another home for it someplace else within a certain period of time, or he's going to insist on a pet deposit. Some landlords will work with you if they find out that you have a pet and ask for a pet deposit. Now, I don't know the landlord and how they would work with Chantal, but I'm sure the landlord's not going to be feeling too happy about the fact that they listed an apartment saying no pets and no smoking, and there's a pet there. I mean, you're kind of starting off on the wrong foot if they're specifying certain things and you're going against it. It doesn't really help with building a trustworthy landlord-tenant relationship. So, yeah, the landlord knows all about Chantal having a pet. And speaking of the pet, speaking of smoking, so Chantal did her live stream last night, and she talked about the offer that FFG made to her. And I've gotten a few more details now. So the details that I've gotten about the offer between FFG and Chantal, the one that FFG made Chantal, the offer was this. FFG offered to buy Chantal a car for $1,000, $2,000, just a beat up, like, or bucket car, very, very basic, very basic. The condition was that if she got Chantal a mode of transportation, a cheap one, that Chantal would have to give Smokey to FFG, and she wasn't allowed to have pets for 1 to 2 years. Chantal must be going through some serious money problems because the old Foodie Beauty would never even consider any offer from FFG. But as you guys saw from the reaction I did yesterday, She was really thinking it over. Like you could tell she was really thinking it over, just thinking to herself, I was thinking about giving up the cat anyway. Um, so I could give up the cat for free and get nothing out of it, or I could give the cat to Frenchie and at least get a basic car and be able to go places and do things and do content. So she was mulling it over. She talked to Frenchie in Instagram messages, and Frenchie is live right now and said she's going to be either showing the messages or reading the messages out, just giving full disclosure. Chantal in her live stream last night said that she was not going to accept the offer because of the bad blood between them. Chantal, you should have taken the offer. You need a car. Smokey needs a good home. You would never be able to provide a good home. You said yourself that you're having trouble taking care of yourself. So you really can't take care of a cat. So what is the point of hanging on to Smokey? There really is no point. If you're hanging on to Smokey, it's because you're just doing it out of spite. Yet again, holding on to an animal out of spite, that never bodes well for you. So I would like to react to a shortened version of Chantal's live last night, really shortened version, courtesy of the channel No, I Don't Think So. And the video that No, I Don't Think So put out 8 hours ago was Foodie Beauty addresses FFG's proposal. So rather than go over Chantal's original live stream, which would be too long and too boring, I'm just going to react to the short Twitter peeps and then to No, I Don't Think So's video. And if you guys want to find the video, look down below in the description and you can find No, I Don't Think So's channel and give them a like, give them a sub, leave a comment and let them know you really enjoyed the video. So how about we get into Twitter peeps, y'all, because there's some juicy stuff there. All right, it's time for the Twitter peeps, and I'm all set and ready to go. Okay. So for those of you that are on Twitter, that you would like to follow me on Twitter, there's my handle, Wild Girl Sarah. Now, let's start here with a coast, not a post, a coast. I swear I had my coffee today. Maybe I need another cup. Okay, Percival says, you can see the reflection from the window in the fridge as well. First photo is from her stream. Second is the Facebook ad. Okay, so this is a screenshot from Chantal's live stream because she did show us more of the house, more so the bedroom. This is a shot of the kitchen. And here is the Facebook ad. The landlord advertising the place for rent. Looks identical to me. And Chantal also let it slip that the place that she's renting costs $1,400 a month, which is the exact cost of the apartment. So it's really funny. She didn't want her place getting doxxed, and yet she showed the entire apartment. She mentioned that it was $1,400 a month, and she should know better because the Kiwi farmers, when they out go on the hunt for something, they find it, and doggone it, they're scary. I remember once she stayed at a hotel and the Kiwi farmers knew exactly where she was staying based on the carpet and the wall paint. Yeah, scary, but they did. They found her. And I will say this, as far as apartments go, the place looks cute. It has a lot of potential. I don't see anything really shabby about it. But if Chantal want to keep things private, she showed way too much. And now people know where she's at and they know where the apartment is. And they also are contacting the landlord. Perfectly Imperfect says, oof. Oh, Sigmund says, someone messaged the landlady. Is it a landlord or is it a landlady? I don't know if the landlord is a male or female. Someone messaged the landlady that Chantal is renting from and exposed her. Chantal either planned to leave Canada after being paid and this was all a visa run, or she got kicked out. Spread the word. So here's part of the message from somebody. Here's, I guess, is the listing on Facebook. 1 bed, 1 bath apartment. Can I just side note? Can I just say something about people searching for apartments on Facebook? Y'all got to be careful. When I was looking around for an apartment, there are so many people scamming, offering places for rent on Facebook. Please be careful. I talked to more than a few people on Facebook. They were offering places for rent. And there's an old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So I was talking to a few places in an effort to find a place where Booger and I could be, and she would be allowed, because I don't believe in that sneaking a pet in business. It's very dishonest, and you might get in trouble for it later. But I talked to more than one person who was acting like a landlord, and the pictures that they show were really nice, and the rent seemed lower than usual. And I kept catching them in their lies, the scammers in their lies. They would give me the address of the place, and then I would take the address, put it in the search bar, and find rental listings for that apartment or for that home for much higher. So there's people on Facebook looking to scam people for money. So if y'all looking for a place on Facebook, please be careful, because it is overloaded with rental scams. Anyway, going back to Chantal, going back to that. So here's the place on Facebook, and people messaging the landlady or the male landlord, I'm not exactly sure which it is, about her. And it looks like this is a female, and the name is Andrew, saying, hello, thank you for your concern. The matter is being handled, but I appreciate you taking the time to inform me. I don't know what matter the landlord or the landlady is referring to. Maybe the matter in question is the cat. If the landlord said no pets and there's a pet there, that might be a big problem for Foodie. So we'll see what happens. Perfectly Imperfect. Oh, wait, excuse me. Kiva says tenants have rights. He can't kick her out overnight. The internet doesn't like you is not a valid reason to end a tenancy agreement. At most, he can ask her to get rid of the cat and keep a close eye on the conditions of the apartment and refuse to renew, of course. Very true. I'm sure now that the landlord knows that Foodie Beauty is problematic, that she's sloppy, she's slobby, she doesn't really have a good track record with taking care of whatever space she's in. He might keep an eye on things to make sure there's no damage or bug infestations. But the landlord might also say, we said in the lease, no pets, and you have a pet. This is a problem. We'll give you time to fix the problem, rehome the pet or something. But they can't kick her out just based on we don't like you and the internet doesn't like you. Perfectly Imperfect says, agreed, unless she just decided to leave. I think she's ready to go to be with Salah anyway. This may be her excuse to do it, meet in Thailand or some other place. The thing is, does she really have money to travel? I know that she just got a YouTube paycheck. I don't know how much it is, but does she have the money to travel? I don't know. Because let's just say she did travel to Thailand. You can only stay there for so long. So once you're done with the travel, where are you going to go back home to? She doesn't have the apartment in Kuwait anymore, and she doesn't really have a home in Canada anymore. So where's the next destination? Where's the next home base? And does she have money for a home base anywhere? I mean, these are all questions that need to be answered before she just up and leaves again. Perfectly Imperfect says, breaking, trouble in Trashlantis. Last night, during a live stream Puff Puff Peace Fest, Foodie Beauty was rudely interrupted by a Beezer informer, Ariel G., who popped into chat like, "Girl, your address just got doxed." Instead of reacting like a normal human, Chantal said, "Oh, what is it?" Because of course she did. Cue the chaos. Kiwi Farms originally doxed what they thought was her building, a quadruplex that sort of matched her place. But leave it to Twitter sleuth Percival, queen of CSI, Crusty Curtains, who cracked the case. She found a fresh Facebook marketplace listing from a landlord named Andrew. The place in the listing? Oh, honey, identical to Foodie's lair. Same countertops, same sad little oven, same floors, same spiritual emptiness. Even the walls screamed rage, stream, realness. And here's where it gets juicier. The apartment is now listed for rent. That's right. Someone slid into Andrew's DMs to make him aware of the menace that is Foodie Beauty. And his reply, a very polite landlord code, we're aware and we're dealing with it. Translation, get out, you YouTube menace. And Foodie, radio silence. No community post, no mukbang, no camera off THC fueled rants about haters, nothing. For someone who's been going live twice a day, vape, rage, and fat shame her cat, this level of quiet is ominous. So will she rage? Will she squat? Will she finally learn how leases work? Stay tuned. But one thing's for sure, the walls are closing in, and this time, not just from her skinny filters. Again, like, I don't know if the landlord can kick her out. They can't kick her out saying, "Oh, you're on YouTube, are you? Get out." They can't do that. They've got to have a viable reason, or else a tenant can sue. So we'll see what happens, y'all. Raised Dactylion says prediction: Salah is going to scam Chantal and him send blah. Prediction: Salah is going to scam Chantal into sending him her YouTube money she's getting tomorrow. He'll tell her he's sending Julia to her with it. She'll never see Salah or Julia ever again. Well, if she's that stupid, a fool and their money are soon parted. I don't know what Salah is doing. We can only speculate, right? But if Salah doesn't have much money, and if Chantal is desperate to get her hands on Julia, although she really shouldn't because she doesn't have a home for herself, so why bother getting a cat from another country if you don't even have a home to bring it to? Because that's going to cost her lots of money. If she decides to send Salah money for Julia, it would not surprise me at all if he just took off and took the money and ran. If he's in a spot where he has no money and he knows that she's got money, he might take the money and run, and she won't see the cat anyway. Honestly, Julia shouldn't be with her regardless. She had Smokey, and Smokey more than likely will have to be rehomed. And Julia really wasn't fond of her nor bonded to her, so she doesn't need either cat. She really doesn't. She needs to take care of herself for once, and only her. Get herself together. Perfectly Imperfect says Salah writes in chat that on the plane, people of all ages were petting her, and Foodie Beauty reacts like it's the first time hearing this, despite insisting they talk all the time. Seems like a story would have shared with her. Okay, I got thoughts about that. Hold on, wait a minute. I had to fly with one of my pets once, with my other cat, Snowball, that I had for many years, and later on she passed away. But when I was moving from Florida to California, I took one last plane trip from Florida to California, and I brought Snowball with me on the plane. One thing I know is that I've never heard of an airline. Maybe there's some out there that do allow this, and if I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. But when I flew, you had to put your cat in a carrier and put them underneath the seat, and you could not let them out of the carrier. Now, if there are other airlines that are more lenient, good on them. But the airline that I dealt with, Snowball had to stay in her carrier the entire time of the flight. Could not get out. So I don't know why Salah would be saying to Chantal, oh, people were petting her. Like this airline was letting the cat run loose all over the plane and letting her out of the carrier. That's very, very unusual. Most airlines don't allow that, but let's watch.
In the plane, all people.
She told us Julia was sedated.
All ages were playing and petting her. No way, were they?
I don't know. Even if they.
In the plane, all people.
She told us Julia was sedated.
All ages were playing and petting her. No way, were they?
I don't know. Even if they.
In the plane, all people.
She told us Julia was sedated.
All ages were playing and petting.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they fly with their pets, they usually just lightly sedate the pet so they can sleep most of the journey and they won't be stressed out and they won't be nervous or anxious. So again, this story about Salah having Julia out in the plane and people were petting her, I'm kind of not buying that. That doesn't sound right to me. Cal Ray says Teardrop leaves the chat, then Salah appears in chat, then Salah leaves chat, then Teardrop reappears in chat. I wonder what that's about. Yeah, that looked weird. That Teardrop was in chat, Salah appeared in chat for like a minute or two, then disappeared, then Teardrop reappeared, which kind of backs up the feeling that more than one person has access to the Salah account. That maybe one or more of Chantal's mods have access to that account. That way it looks like Salah is there when he's really not. You know, just to keep up appearances, to make it seem like Salah is talking to Chantal. So weird that Teardrop is there and then disappears, and then Salah is there, and then while he's there, she's not there. Yeah, something looks funky in the water. All right, so that's it for the Twitter peeps. Told you it wouldn't take long. So we're going to get into the much shortened version of what happened last night in Chantal's stream, because like I said, you guys didn't miss much. She had the camera off. She wasn't even showing herself. She's done that the last couple of live streams. She says it's because she has her hijab off and she doesn't want to appear indecent in front of people. In my opinion, I think it's because she's doing the party favors and she knows that she's high and she does not want people to know how high she is. That's just my thoughts. But let's get into this shortened version of what happened last night, courtesy of No, I Don't Think So. And I'm going to give my thoughts, and I hope you guys enjoy the react. So let's get into it, y'all.
Vertical mode because I'm not on camera. Have it in vertical mode because I'm not on camera, so.
Is tech issues what we'll be calling it now? It went from jet lag to tech issues real quick. Just from her speech alone you can tell she's stoned.
How sounds like I took medication. What?
It's not medication if you're overtaking it, but I digress.
I can't show my face. I'm completely not ready to be on camera. Yes, I still have Smokey.
For context, she went live last night and told the chat she was ready to dump the cat. She got a lot of backlash from her chat, even from die-hard beezers like Life by Ron, who got blocked for calling her out. Regardless of what she's saying now, I still think she's gonna get rid of the cat pretty soon. She's just doing damage control in my opinion.
Now, a little word about the Smokey situation. So there's been some whispers and rumors around the community, just some thoughts that maybe Chantal having Smokey, a couple of people that I've talked to have said they thought that maybe the reason why Chantal had the cat was because she's actually cat sitting for somebody, and she was only going to have the cat for a very short time. Do I put it past Chantal that, let's just say she was indeed cat sitting? The cat, Smokey, actually belongs to somebody else, and she was just cat sitting. Would she use the cat for the time that she had it to kick at the community and get them all outraged and tell a fake phony story that she now owns Smokey just to see if she can get some extra views and extra rage and extra money out of it? Yeah, of course she would. She's an opportunist. She'll use anything to make money. She'll do anything for money. So I don't know if she was cat sitting. I don't know if she really got Smokey and that's her cat. But I still think it'd be a good idea for her to rehome Smokey. I mean, she said it herself best. She's in no position to take care of Smokey. She's not in the best of health. If she already had thoughts of getting rid of him this soon, it's not a good sign. And if she decides to keep the cat because she's afraid that if she lets him go, that's going to lead to backlash and lack of views and lack of money. I mean, those are not good reasons to have a pet at all. Like, she's hanging on to Smokey for all the wrong reasons. And it's not going to bode well for her or the cat. But now, with the information that's come forward, Chantal, your landlord knows that you have a cat now, and you're going to have to rehome Smokey if indeed it is your cat, because you weren't supposed to have pets there in the first place. So yeah, you should have taken FFG up on her offer. You would have got a car at least.
Did you decide on Smokey? Yes, it's about Smokey, but I don't want to make the whole stream about Smokey, and I don't want to rage, okay? So
there we go. There's our girl. There's Foodie. I don't want to make the whole stream about Smokey. I don't want you talking about him. I want you talking about me. Me, 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 me. I want you talking about me. Why aren't you talking about me? She's incredible. She's such an incredible narcissist. You can't even talk about her pet without it making her insecure and jealous and mad. The conversation has to stay entirely on her, even though she introduced Smokey to the internet and she put him on camera and she's using the cat to grift. Don't you dare talk about him too much.
I've been rage baiting? What? I'm just living my life.
No, you've been rage baiting hard. You've been grifting hard and you've been rage baiting hard. Like you're doing everything under the sun to tick girl world off. And no, people aren't happy with you. And they're not. Of course they're not, given your history. They're not going to be happy with you. But that's all you do anymore, Foodie. You're not about being weird and wacky and goofy and silly and mixing the rage and the anger in between. It's nothing but rage baiting now. Rage baiting and trolling, rage baiting and trolling, rage baiting and trolling, and you're wearing everybody out with this nonsense.
So I had this fat chunky cat running around for the laser. I got him a really good laser and I was playing with him earlier. And he had to take a break. Like, he's really out of shape. So it would take some, but he's getting used to the laser. Like, he doesn't like to play for long. So I'll have to play with him like little short bursts several times. But you guys are right. Oh, whoever said that this cat is addicted to treats. When I tell you, if I touch anything in my apartment that sounds remotely close to a Temptations or Greenies treats bag or something like a treats bag, man, wow. And he's like following me everywhere like he's jonesing for some treats.
Kind of sounds like you, doesn't it? I think personally if you're not cat sitting, Chantal, if you were out there looking for a cat, you wanted a cat that was a little bit like you. Like, you thought to yourself, I'm a big girl. I'm looking for a big fluffy cat. But you have a problem with food. And as a cat owner, you've taken into your care an obese cat. If you were the right kind of owner, you would want to help the cat get healthier and give them a special diet and special food to where the cat would lose a little bit of weight and be a lot healthier. But knowing you're going to go the opposite way. You're going to overfeed the cat and make the cat bigger and unhealthier, because that's what you do with yourself. Like you look at the cat wanting food and eating too much food is something cute when it's not cute. It's really, really bad for an animal the way it is for a person.
I gave him exactly 3 treats today. Those little things. That's what I want to talk about, but I can't really figure out an angle. Like,
Interesting. I want to talk about it, but I haven't figured out an angle. What do you mean figure out an angle? What do you mean that way? What do you mean figure out an angle? It sounds like you're trying to find a way to not get backlash. You introduce something to your audience and to this whole foodie beauty story, and it's kind of messy and muddy, and you're trying to find a way to not get egg on your face and not get in trouble.
yeah, like I find that I'm kind of getting closer and closer to him, whereas like he's really sweet.
She always tells on herself, but the gummies really speed up that process. If she was gonna keep the cat, she would have just said yes.
Right. Just say it. Like people asking her, are you going to keep the cat? Just say, yes, I'm going to keep the cat. So why is she sticking her feet in the mud about saying if she's going to keep the cat or not? Where's all this, well, I don't know, stuff coming from? Why the indecision? Why can't she tell her audience one way or the other?
She flat out says she can't figure out an angle, meaning she's still cooking up the right excuse to get rid of Smokey without pissing off more bees.
Right. She may not even know what's going on with herself right now. And when I was listening to her live streams, the last couple of live streams, she's got the camera off. But I did notice that whenever Smokey was meowing, especially with the one live stream where she was saying, I'm thinking of getting rid of Smokey. I want your honest opinions. Every time he would meow, she would make this sound like, oh, or like she was afraid of somebody hearing him meow. And I thought, what are you afraid of? Are the neighbors not supposed to hear the cat? Is he not supposed to be there? And then to find out, no pets are allowed at this apartment. So if he's meowing, she might be afraid of neighbors hearing that and letting the landlord know. Well, guess what? The landlord knows now.
Okay, so here's the thing. You guys already know about like the FFG thing that she apparently on her live stream made an offer to, what she said was like to find me. Like she messaged me on Instagram and was like, so do you want the car? And then I was like, I didn't watch your live, so like what exactly was it that you propositioned? So it was like basically like she would pay for me for like maybe like maybe $2,000 car, like a beater. And in exchange, she had like these conditions where it's like you can't own pets for 2 years, and like you would have to give me Smokey. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, can we have Smokey updates?
The thing is, Chantal, if you surrender a pet to anyone, it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Frenchie or an organization or a group or an individual, once you surrender a pet to another person, if you're the owner and you say, I am surrendering the pet to you and you are the new owner, or I'm giving the pet to you, you are not entitled to updates from anyone. Once you give up ownership of that pet, they don't have to follow through and give you updates on what's going on with the pet because you are not the owner anymore. So Frenchie had her conditions and you were trying to make your own conditions and say, well, I want updates on Smokey. You're not entitled to that. You're really not.
Wow, if you're willing to give that up for $1 to $2 grand from your arch nemesis, then you must be broke.
Right. And it's like I said, the old Foodie Beauty that had money, that was living in the Canadian villa with Pete's, making 20, 30 grand a month, would never have even thought twice about that offer. Would have flat out said no. But she's hard up for money. If she was mulling it over in her mind and she was inquiring, like, well, what's this offer? Because she hates French Fry Girl. She hates her. She hates Frenchie. But Chantal is for sale. Anything about Chantal is for sale. I mean, let's face it. She sold her dignity long ago for a very cheap price, and she doesn't want it back. She put a lot of shame in its place. But for her to talk to Frenchie on Instagram and say, well, what is this offer? She's broke. Either she's broke or she's cheap. And she's thinking about her YouTube paycheck and saying to herself, I could take this offer and I could at least get a working car and go places. And I can't take care of Smokey anyway, so it'd be a win-win for everybody. Why not do it? Why not follow through? At least I get a car out of it and be able to go places, and that's 1 to 2 grand out of my paycheck that I don't have to spend. But once again, Chantal's hanging on to her stubborn pride.
I mean, I hope she takes FFG up on the offer, but she would have no right to attack FFG over BBJ ever again.
And then I asked about BBJ and she just completely ignored the question. And then she was like,
well, you had no right to ask about her. You had no right to ask about BBJ. When you had BBJ in your care, in your home, you didn't care for her. You severely neglected her. You starved her. You were a bad owner. You let her nails grow into her foot pads not once but twice. And that's not counting the UTI, the kidney problems, the dirty ears, the rotted teeth, the arthritis, the mats in her fur. There were so many things wrong with that poor baby, all because of you. So you being a neglectful owner, do you have the right to ask about updates on the animal that you neglected badly? Willingly? Knowingly? No, you really don't. You really don't.
yeah, no, I know, Teardrop. I'm getting to that. I was just like, that's why I'm trying to figure out how to talk about it. Like, I'm not saying what we said in DMs to even be shady. I'm just saying, like, you guys already know this is going to happen. And she's probably going to talk about it anyways as well. Like, it's not like she was being private or anything like that I'm leaking. It was just, And then she was like, well, I can give you, like, he's going to go, he would be rehome to one of my best friends. Just like BBJ, you would get like one update and that would be it. Like no more bullshit, no more updates, bullshit, or something like that. So I'm just thinking about it and like I've decided that no, I'm not gonna do that because I think it would be really honestly an awful idea. Awful. I think it would be awful. I would be partaking in this exchange with somebody who literally like pretty much led to a lot of trauma in my life.
Oh, please stop. Someone that led me to a lot of trauma. What? How did Frenchie give you trauma? Chantal, a narcissistic injury is not real trauma. That was just your pride and your ego getting hurt. Frenchie did not give you trauma. You neglected BBJ, and you evil beast you. You thought that by starving her and then taking her to the vet, that the vet would just put BBJ down and then all of your worst evils would be hidden. And divine intervention happened. Frenchie got BBJ, took her to the vet, and everything that was wrong with her was exposed. Is that the trauma that you're referring to? The fact that all of your worst evils and your worst neglect got exposed to the public? That's the trauma. The trauma is the truth came out and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't cover it up. You couldn't hide it. That's your trauma. Well, you shouldn't have hurt BBJ in the first place, should you?
Especially with the BBJ thing. It's up to me that we don't have an update on her, like, at all. Not even, like, it's just so simple. Oh, if he's with your brother, just give us an update, a small pic.
You listen, Chantal. You of all people do not deserve an update. You didn't care for BBJ. You didn't care for Sam. You really didn't. If you had cared for those cats the way you were supposed to, neither one of them would have been in bad shape when they were rehomed. Sam wouldn't have needed a lion's cut to remove all the dander, and BBJ wouldn't have needed all the medical care that she had to end up getting. If all it was they were healthy and then they went to other homes, that would have been the end of that story. And that would have been the happily ever after for both of them. But they both needed care after being around you. So you don't deserve a freaking update from nothing.
New picture, like a something, you know? And I don't care. A lot of you think I didn't care about BBJ. That's, and sorry for my language.
You didn't care.
Loved that cat.
If you loved her, then you loved her in the wrong way. You loved her hatefully. I'm a cat owner. I'm sensitive to my cat. Like if she even sneezes, I'm looking at her like, are you okay? But you had a cat that was walking around on embedded nails, limping, falling down, and you weren't alarmed?
I've had her for 21 years.
You're so neglectful of your pet, you don't even know how old she is. The age of Baby J keeps changing with you. You're not even sure how old she is.
It's never going to be closure for me, and the fact that this person like revels in that and makes content out of it, I'm just like, why would I ever? No, sorry. There's just too many. Like I wanted to hear what it was, and I was thinking about it. I was crazy to ever even think about it because, like, honestly, like there's just too many bridges that have been burnt. That
Chantal, you don't care about burnt bridges. You'll fly right over them to get what you want.
That would never happen, you know? I just have to decline that. Honestly, respectfully, I'm being respectful. I'm just telling you how I honestly feel. Yeah, but said FFG gave BBJ to a friend and then got into a fight with that friend. Yeah, I'm not going to rehome the cats without knowing updates and making sure that he's safe. I care about him. So why can't I have updates on him? Like, you know?
Because you're not entitled to updates. Are we going to go over this again? Do I have to make myself clear a second time? Chantal, when you surrender a pet, you are not entitled to updates about what's going on with that pet. You're not.
Like, why can't I? I don't know. It's just so weird.
I just want to point out that a lot of her beezers, in this case a moderator, seem up to date about what these forbidden reaction channels are saying. Remember she went on a complete tirade after Tracy was caught in Milky's chat and how she wanted anyone caught watching reaction channels blocked. Perhaps it's fine as long as you don't compliment them on their looks like Tracy did. If there's one thing Foodie hates more than women, it's attractive women.
Took your cat, stalked you, makes thousands off of you, ridicules you on every live, bro. Exactly. See, this is why I stand with you. You're a decent, kind, moral woman.
Who is this person Trixie talking about? You're not talking about Foodie when you make that comment. Calling her a decent, kind, moral woman? What? You must be new. Bless your little heart, Trixie.
Thank you, Trixie. Love ya. Okay, as for Smokey, I don't think I gave it enough time, okay? I think my problem, I might have bipolar. I don't know, something's wrong with me. I don't know if it is. I'd have to see a psychiatrist. But in the meantime, I'm very impulsive. And if I don't get something immediately or immediate results like a child, I just, I don't deal. So anyways, he's starting, like today we really bonded with the playing, and he's been really cuddly with me, and I've been noticing little cute things he does I didn't notice.
And I just want to point this out. So earlier in this video, Chantal was angry that people were asking about Smokey, talking about Smokey, and yet during her live stream, she's spending a lot of time talking about Smokey herself. Make up your mind, Foodie. Pick a lane, please.
Before, like he rolls and hops on his belly like a seal.
Like if she's doing nothing where she's at, she's going nowhere. She's not showing the Beezers anything new to talk about or remark on or ask questions about. So for now, I guess Smokey is the content. That's the topic of the day, is Smokey and what Smokey's doing and blah, blah, blah about Smokey. But yet, don't talk about Smokey so much.
Like, he's just so cute. He's got his things all set up here, and yeah, I just think maybe I should give it like a couple more days at least. I need car. Yeah, I'm not just gonna take a car. I mean, I am gonna get a car eventually, guys. We still
Yeah, well, she's been gone all day. And I got a feeling I know where she's at.
The sherry is sold. That
the sherry is sold. Wrong. The sherry is not sold. You want to know why? There's no way for the two of you to sell it. You cannot sell a car that you don't own. You guys were leasing the car and making payments. Never did I hear the car was completely paid off. And let's just say the car had been paid off. That car was not in good condition when you left. The mess that you made in that car, the defecating in the seat, probably staining the seat, the garbage, the smell. Good luck selling that car, even if you try to clean it.
That was Salah's car, not mine. But I don't have to give him a single cent. He has enough money, trust me. No, he can't buy me a car.
Yeah, what about that? Salah was supposed to be a successful businessman, right? That all he does is run around and, her words, collect money. So if he's some successful businessman, this is your wife, you can't buy them a car? You can't send them any money for a car so that your wife can get around back home in Canada?
Funny how you'll consider a deal with FFG for $1,000 or $2,000, but your well-off husband can't help you out.
Yeah, what kind of a husband is he? He's not even helping you out, Foodie.
Separating from Kuwait was expensive. And also, like, for both of us to reestablish our lives in new places, new countries.
Was that her telling on herself? For both of us to establish ourselves again in different countries, that didn't sound like the two of you are going to come back together. Sounds like the two of you are done, and now he has to establish himself alone where he's at, and you have to establish yourself alone where you're at. But it doesn't sound like there's much in the way of plans for the two of you to get back together.
You don't even have an idea what we went through and what he went through. He's not poor, but can't control your mouth, which is why you have to flee Kuwait. Yeah.
True statement. Jordan Lewis says you wouldn't have had to relocate and sieve all that money if you can control your mouth. Well, no crying over spilt milk.
Pretty much. It's not a country for me to live in, I guess. Moving to Canada is a process in immigration. That's why. Backpack across East Asia. It's true. It wouldn't be that expensive. I was wanting to do that, maybe just like go a couple weeks here, couple weeks Vietnam, couple weeks.
Please, Foodie. You talk about this crap all the time. You always come forward and say, like, you want to travel so much and you want to go here and you want to go there. And like, it just, you put yourself through the process. You have decided that you want to do nothing but live stream because you're lazy. You don't even want to be bothered to sit down and make, say, a 15-minute video or a 20-minute video. You don't even want to do that work. So you turn on your camera and go live, because you can go live and get super chats and get membership signups and views without no editing involved. And you need topics of conversation to fill up the time. So one of the things that you talk about all the time is, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I have these plans for travel, even though everybody knows you don't like to travel. Every time you have to travel somewhere, you complain about it, you whine about it, you're in a bad mood. And when you get someplace, you just find a hotel room and just shack yourself up there. You don't take hikes, you don't sightsee, you don't explore where you are. It's just get on a plane, get there, get a room, and stay still. So you really don't travel the way you should.
It's about like Bali, but I want to be in shape. So I feel like the next few years are going to have to be dedicated to that. If I want to do anything in life, I'm 41. Peace is like a brother, and SGM looks like your brother. Yes, I know to you guys, it seems like a weird rule. Trust me, I can't even hang out with a guy, even if there's like a negative 200% chance that there's any boning going on. So yeah, there's a reason I didn't go with him, and I just don't feel I want to talk about it. Julia might have a stronger passport than Salah at the moment. Hers is from Kuwait. It's not fair. I feel bad for Syria. I have a special place in my heart for the Middle East because being there for a few years and being with somebody from there and just learning more about it and experiencing it. But it's also, I guess it's just probably not for me to live there because I'm struggling with my mouth and being modest in a lot of ways. No, I didn't say he was there, Angel Fly. Why would I get married to a Middle Eastern man? Because he's so hot. That's why.
Why would you marry a Middle Eastern man? Because he's so hot. First thing that she thinks about, like, is the guy hot? Okay, I want to be in a relationship with him.
I saw him, and then he made me laugh, and well, we have a relationship. There's a lot going on there, It's very, very deep. I like the bossiness. I find that attractive.
Since when? You had a meltdown every time he tried to tell you what to do. You don't like bossy men, you like pushovers who enable you.
Benita, when did you send a PayPal? No.
Why are people still sending her money? Rebecca says, no one is going to stick around for this. You can't even dress normal and hang out with friends.
No one is going to stick around for this. You can't even dress normal to hang out with friends. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't feel like it. There's going to be a few live streams here and there where I might not want to be on camera. Like, it's going to be rare, but
something tells me it's not going to be rare. That in moments like what happened during the stream, when she wants to do her edibles and get high and get stoned off her butt, and she does not want people to notice how stoned and high she is, she'll keep the camera off so that she can be sure that she doesn't look stoned. I'm sure this is going to happen a lot while she's in Canada.
Sometimes. Please pay for my marijuana. What? I'm not paying for it.
She's too stoned to understand what's even being said. The Beezers know these donations go straight to your expensive gummy habit whilst you continue to beg for people to buy you things from your Amazon wish list. Even the room temperature IQ Beezers know where the money is going, so anyone who donates to her can get it.
I'm tired, so.
Yep. People that enable her.
Oh, it's getting late. I'm going to bed. Good night.
So that was the shortened down version of what happened last night. Her going live, and she had the camera off again, and she was stoned off her butt again. And it was just a big old mess. And a lot of it was boring. And that's why we're doing the shortened version today, because I've been hitting y'all with long reacts, and I just don't feel like doing that today. And the wonderful No, I Don't Think So did this video. So I'm like, I'll react to that instead. I'm not going to be here till 10 o'clock at night reacting to her boring nonsense. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this react. If you have, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. And please don't forget to look down below in the description for the link for the original video from No, I Don't Think So, and check them out and tell them I said hi. All right, so y'all have a great day and have a good one. Bye.